Darcy looked around with frowning dissatisfaction. The drawing-room was an extravagance of opulence, redone entirely in the Egyptian style with no sign of the previous furniture, itself only a few years old, which had been present during Darcy's last visit a year ago. All of it had been replaced with ornate and gaudy furnishings, glittering with gold leaf and shining fabrics. Almost every piece was decorated with intricate carvings in the shapes of African animals' heads and limbs and feet, interspersed with exotic flowers and massive leaves of a strange shape. A relief of a sarcophagus held up each side of the fireplace, topped with sphinxes and cats and pharaohs. The whole fantastical construct magnified the light of the fire across its gilded surface. Clear oil lamps dotted the room, their bright light reflecting off of the heavily brocaded curtains. "I flatter myself that the furniture in this room is very fine," Lady Catherine declared, looking around with satisfaction. "I suppose that Sheraton furniture is well and good for some houses, but not Rosings. We must, of course, take part in the very latest fashions. This beautiful mansion deserves the very best. Do not think, Anne?" Anne de Bourgh, who was sitting near the fire, well wrapped in shawls, looked up in surprise and said meekly, "Yes, mother, of course." "What do you think, Fitzwilliam?" Lady Catherine demanded of her military nephew. "Your mother, I believe, recently redecorated her favourite sitting-room with Louis XVI-style accoutrements. I do not wish to speak ill of Lady Matlock, of course, but—" The lady continued to ramble at length, with Richard, admirably calm, responding occasionally. Darcy stayed largely silent. He was appalled at his aunt's determination to spend such vast sums on furniture when the stable and roads needed attention. He was worried about Anne, who must be told of his decision not to marry her. He did not look forward to that conversation. Nonetheless, he was an honourable gentleman and must speak soon. Furthermore, while he had resolved not to marry Miss de Bourgh, he had not come to any conclusion about whom he should marry. Lord Matlock was correct that he ought to sire an heir. Of course, there were many wealthy, well-connected ladies of the temps who would be pleased to be mistress of Pemberley, but he wanted— well, he wanted Miss Elizabeth, but that was ridiculous, of course. But oh, how his heart longed for her. Since she was not a worthy bride, he needed to search for a lady with similar characteristics, but without any of her deficits. To be sure, he had been to countless assemblies and dinners and breakfasts and parties in the last decade, and had never met a woman who caused his heart to leap like Miss Elizabeth Bennet, but surely such a lady existed. Perhaps. There was also the issue of Charles Bingley. He missed his friend, and wondered if the breach between them could be mended, but he did not know how. He had much on his mind, none of it comforting, and Lady Catherine continued to drone endlessly. After dinner, which was bound to be long and tedious, he would retire upstairs, pleading exhaustion from his journey.